Hi, I'm Fynnion, and this is Once Upon a Baby Krasue.
Die magเลย
Hello, and welcome everybody to another episode of the Baby Killer series, where today we are going to be taking on the newest killer added to Dead by Daylight, the Krasue. Sorry to interject here, but it's me, Fynnion. Hi. And I am from way off in the future from when this video was recorded. Now, as I just said, we're taking on the newly released killer, the Krasue, in this episode. And she released about, I don't know, 7 or 8 months ago. So this was all recorded pretty much around like September 24th, somewhere around those lines in 2025. It is currently May. No, it's June already. It's June 2026. So it's been a while. I haven't played DBD since I finished this, and I recorded a couple of games for the streak that I started. And the big issue was that I got a new computer some time ago now. I think around the time that I completed the Krasue, I started building my new computer, and I got it. And the first time I played DBD on it, I had some horrible performance issues. And then I didn't play DBD for a while. So I'm started playing it again. I played a couple matches a few days ago. But I'm still trying to figure out the performance issues, and it's probably because I went a little overboard when changing settings in the file directory. So once I've figured that out, I'll get back to doing the Baby Killer series and continuing the Nuzlocke Streak. Since I think I showed 5 games in the first episode. And I think I have already, before I even stopped playing, I think I completed around 30 or 35 games of the streak. So those will be out in the future as well. Sorry, that's my phone. Anyways, with that being said, I just wanted to give a little info dump that I took another long break from Dead by Daylight. And I'm getting back into it again now. So I'll see you guys in the next video I post. And I apologize in advance when I'm going over the lore and when I'm saying Krasue. I really hope I'm not butchering it. I've heard everybody so far call her Krasue. So that's what I'm gonna try and stick to myself. Now let's go over into her lore. The Krasue, or as she was known before she became cursed, Burong Sukapat, was a operatic singer. She was an opera singer, and during all of her rehearsals it was usually a sea of emotion, because despite her tiring efforts she was unable to become anything more than an understudy, and her desire to share her gift became an unshakable need for fame. Genjira, her childhood friend, was her biggest supporter, but other than a shoulder to cry on, there was little she could do to help Burong. It wasn't until Malai, a fellow singer, reached out to Burong that her fortune changed. She presented Burong with a glass bottle with a clear liquid within and advised her to drink it. Her tone was deadly serious, as she said that each night another will inhabit Burong's body, but in return she will become a success just like Malai had been. Burong laughed, but she wanted to believe it to be true, so she grabbed the bottle and swallowed every drop of the liquid. In the following weeks, Burong's skin felt softer, and she found a depth in her voice she never knew existed. During her next audition, as she performed her song, and after she was finished, she thanked the director before coughing blood into a handkerchief. But instead of being worried, Burong chose to ignore it. Whatever was happening was working, and she wouldn't dare stop it now. That night, as she slept, she felt a soothing warmth dripping down her body. She bolted upright and was awake, but she didn't recognize her surroundings. She laid in a yard, unrecognizable to her and covered in blood. Next to her was a ravaged chicken coop. She stumbled home quickly before the city awoke, and spit up blood as she took a shower, fearing that this had not been her first hunt. She called Janjira and told her she had been restlessly sleepwalking because she couldn't bear to tell her the truth, and needed someone to coax her back to bed, and Janjira, being a good friend, agreed to help. The next morning she awoke to Janjira's hand lovingly placed on her cheek, but as she sat up, it fell and landed on the disemboweled carcass of her friend. Burung choked on her cries and sat with her dead friend for hours, and even after cleaning, a deep stain remained on the carpet. She walked to Malai's home, and as soon as Malai saw Burung, she began to defend herself, claiming she had committed no wrong. Malai had been cursed, and she had to pass it on to someone else to get rid of the curse. She believed Burung could, in her desire for fame, withstand the torment. Anger stirred within Burung. She fell to the floor and dug her nails into her own skin, ripping at the burning agony. She tore chunks of flesh from her neck, and her entrails wriggled inside. Her head tore free from her body, a long string of organ dragging behind like a fish slapping against the shore. A seething hunger took over as Burung's disembodied head lifted into the air. She swooped at Malai, ravenously mutilating the woman until nothing remained but blood, hair, and bone. And when Burung awoke, she found no sympathy to shed a single tear. She returned home and sat on her bed, and soon her phone rang. The director's voice cut through the haze that had settled in her mind as he offered her the leading role. Burung fell from her bed and cried, from relief and elation, not from sadness. During the evenings on the Bangkok stage, her star shined bright, and at night she fed the creature within, and together they thrived in a world of hunger and song. But the creature always wanted more, and one night it was presented just that. A promise of meat hung on hooks, dripping with tantalizing blood. And then there was fog. And that is how the Krasue entered the entity's realm, and the fog. Now, with that being said, this chapter is very heavily based on music and singers, as the survivor V. Bunyasak, who came out as well, is also in a band, and Burung is an opera singer, an operette, I think you call them. And she's very gross sometimes. But with that all being said, let's go over into her attributes, Teachable perk, perks, and power. Now the attributes are not stagnant because the Krasue does have 2 forms, and we'll go over that during her power, but in her base form she has a movement speed of 4.6 meters per second, a terror radius of 32 meters, and is of average height. The Krasue's first teachable perk is Ravenous. Whenever a survivor is hooked for the first time, this perk gains a token, up to a maximum of 4. Once 4 tokens have been accumulated, all survivors will scream and suffer from the exposed status effect for 40, 50, or 60 seconds, depending on the level of the perk. So a perk that encourages you to hook multiple survivors and then gives you a 60-second expose on all the survivors to, keep your pressure going after you hooked everybody once. Her second teachable perk is Wandering Eye. Whenever you start a chase with a survivor, Wandering Eye will trigger. It will reveal the aura of all other injured survivors within 20 meters of the killer's location for 5 seconds. And this perk has a cooldown of 40, 35, 30 seconds. I have to apologize real quick. The stats I have on my left screen are the pre-changes one. They are from the PTB, I believe. She did come out with a few changes. She came out yesterday, like half a day ago. So it might not be exactly, but I don't think Ravenous was changed. Wondering, I just got a little range buff. On the PTB, it was 16 meters for 5 seconds. And her last teachable perk is a Hex perk, and it's called Overture of Doom. Now, as every Hex perk does, this spawns a Hex totem, which curses the furthest generator from the killer's location, and reveals its aura in yellow. Now, when a survivor repairs the curse generator for 5 seconds, the following effects will trigger for 20, 25, or 30 seconds, depending on the level of the perk. Now, this will transfer the terror radius to the curse generator and set it to a radius of 32 meters, and simultaneously grant the killer the undetectable status effect. If the generator that is cursed is fully repaired, the next furthest generator will be cursed instead, and all these effects will persist until the Hex totem is cleansed. Now, that being said, with her teachable perks, these will of course all be added to the Nuzlocke Streak that I have been doing since the PTB announcement that the anti-tunneling and anti-slug changes aren't going through, which I have uploaded the rule video for. Check that out in the information box top right of your screen right now, if you want to, and also check out the playlist for that, and we'll be adding the Krasue to that streak as well. The Krasue's power is called Unbodied Flesh, and this comes with a special ability called Corporal Weave, and this will allow the Krasue to shift between her body form and her head form at will. The body form is the base M1 killer form of the Krasue with a regular terror radius of 32 meters, a movement speed of 4.6 meters per second, and it also grants the Regurgitate special ability, which we'll go over in a second. And the head form provides the Krasue with a larger terror radius of 40 meters, a faster movement speed of 4.8 meters per second, grants access to the Headlong Flight special ability, grants access to the Intestinal Whip special attack, and replaces the ability to break drop pallets with the ability to vault across them at a reduced vaulting time of 1.4 seconds. And additionally, the head form can also not gain the Bloodlust status effect. Now let's go over the special affliction that comes with the Krasue, which is Leeched. Hitting a survivor with a Leeched Gland or Intestinal Whip fills their Leech meter, indicated on their HUD portrait. Once this meter reaches 100 charges, the affected survivor suffers from Leeched 1. During Leeched 1, they can now be injured by Intestinal Whip, and it'll cause the Leech meter to slowly charge up at 1.665 charges per second to Leech 2. If the survivor reaches Leech 2 before they cleanse their Leech, a healthy survivor receives damage and becomes injured, and it also applies the broken status effect regardless if the survivor is injured already or has been healthy, since they are put into the injured state anyways. Now, we already talked about how Leech is affected, but let's go over exactly how that works. In her body form, the Krasue gets the special ability Regurgitate. Now, using the power button, you can initiate the charge Regurgitate interaction, and releasing the power button will cancel it. Pressing the attack button, however, when fully charged, will spew a Leeching Gland, which is a small projectile. Now, if this projectile hits the ground, it'll do nothing. But if it hits a survivor, a wall, or a ceiling, it will spew out into 4 homing mini glands that home in on survivors, apparently. So it can affect multiple survivors. Hitting a survivor with the Leeching Gland completely fills their Leech meter by 100 charges, making them go into Leech to 1 immediately, but it cannot go beyond Leech to 1. So hitting them multiple times with Regurgitate, thinking of like how Plague's power worked, will not put them in Leech 2. This is Leech 2 can only happen over time if the survivors don't cleanse their infection. Now, as I said already, you can, even if you don't see the survivor and it hits a wall, it'll spew out some mini glands that can also fully leech a survivor. The other way they can gain leeched is through the head form's intestinal whip. While in head form, pressing the attack button will lash out with the internal organs, so that's not a basic attack, it is a special attack. If this attack hits a survivor that is not leeched, it will fill their leech meter by 34 charges. So, you would have to hit them 3 times in this form to put them into leech 1. And as well as with the regurgitate and the leeching gland, this cannot exceed leeched 1, so you can put them in leech 1, but you can never progress them faster to leech 2. Now, as we said before, intestinal whip cannot damage a survivor unless they're leeched, so instead you can either go into the body form, hit them with a leeching gland, and then go into the head form and hit them, or you hit them 3 times in the head form to make them go into leeched 1, and then you can injure them with the 4th attack, which is crazy. And as we said, because it can only damage survivors who are affected with leeched 1. But the head form also has a second ability, which is headlong flight. When the power gauge of headlong flight is filled to at least 25%, pressing and holding the power button to speed through the air at 7.0 meters per second. The power gauge has a capacity of 10 charges, and flying depletes the power gauge at a rate of -1 charge per second. And it recharges at a rate of 0.334 charges per second. So this is a movement ability. As far as I'm aware, it does have collision, so you can't go through survivors, but you can still fly around them because you're much faster than survivors. And block pallets, block windows, something along those lines. Now, we talked about leech and that survivors can cleanse it, because the Krasue spawns a counter mechanic, which is a special item, which is called glowing fungus. These will spawn randomly through the environment and can be picked up and eaten by survivors who are affected with leech 1 to lower their leech meter over time. But it also, if they're affected with leech 2, I'm pretty sure they can also cleanse leeched 2. I don't know if it says anywhere on here. Yeah. This will not instantly cleanse them from leeched, but it will slowly cleanse them over time. Meaning that if they get hit by either regurgitate, a intestinal whip, or maybe even a basic attack, it doesn't say here, but it says the effect ends after being hit, which I assume means that any sort of attack will stop their cleansing. The trial with 4 glowing fungus, the website says 6, but they changed it to 4, with a limit of 10 glowing fungi existing at the same time. Now, whenever the Krasue leaves her body, after shifting to her head form, it will spawn a fungi on the body's location. But this will only apply if it's not too close to an already existing glowing fungus, or if the limit has been reached. So 4 spawn at the start of the trial. Survivors can pick them up to cleanse their leech meter. But if the Krasue switches to a head form, she will constantly spawn a new one around the location or around the environment. It often spawns close to where the Krasue changed her form, though. And that is the power, teachable perks, and attributes of the Krasue. If you want, we could have a look at the Mori, but we'll probably see it along this episode as well. I don't think I have any sort of special customization. I did buy the entire DLC, so I do have this red one, but I might buy a cosmetic for her because she has... I think I have to show you guys, because she has these weapons that glow. This one goes blue, this one's like purple, and this one's like yellow, orange, and they look so cool. And then she has these really cool, like, this one particular is, I like it a lot, just like jeans and a top. It looks really nice. And also with this head, or this one, because look at what the head looks like in this form. It looks so crazy. I really like it. Alright, but I'll have to get some blood points, spend some on her because we haven't spent any yet, and then we'll head off into our first match. We're on the Dead Dog Saloon. It's our first game of the Krasue. See if we can hit that. Oh, looks like I missed. That was maybe a bit too high. Okay, I don't really get slowed down while doing this. That's interesting. Oh, I thought that would hit. I'm just kind of doing this. Am I even slower when I'm holding it? I probably am, right? Okay. Head form. That's a hit. That's pretty quick. After we hit the leeching, of course. Oh, that's not gonna save you. We know the James on that gen back there, since the Cheryl was on our gen, on that Gallows gen. Oh, he's not anymore. That's interesting. I think I'm gonna hit this. Oh, that's an interesting animation. I thought I could maybe get a hit there. I could have just vaulted this in head form. I don't think he makes it very far, especially with this. We can do that. None of my squirt hooks are in this corner because they're all over there. So we'll just have to hook him on something other here. It's unfortunate, but I'll deal with it somehow. Can we reach her before she loses the infection? Yes, we can. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Okay, that's also interesting. I'm sorry for the tunnel, but you made it easy. So as far as I'm aware, you can attack very quickly afterwards. You can get an injury like that. She did not know. I don't think that one's gonna respawn in time, but I think I make it to the other one. Oh, I forgot he had sprint burst. That was a bad time. He's self-carrying in that corner over there. Ooh, nice sidestep. I think it's faster if I do this, right? Because I can hit him and then immediately use headlong flight to catch up. Oh yeah, baby. I'm gonna have to wait for one of them to die to get the Mori. Sorry, I'm just spamming screenshots in the hopes that I have a good one in there that I want to post on my profile. Damn. She's definitely not weak. I know people had some mixed opinions on the PTB, but I think right now the consensus is that she is very strong, very broken. Mother's Dwelling. Okay, we got a big map. We'll see how this works out for us. Is it worth going head form immediately? I wonder. Maybe we could try that in the next match. Oh, he got stuck on it even. Oh, there's another tree. I think I am slowed a little bit when I try to use that. Could hook our basement here, but I don't want to. Nice, a little bit of pressure. Does that still work? I know that worked on the PTB. Or was I just too slow in reacting to it? Holy, it's so fast. Oh, I thought I had my hand up still. Oh, I got juked. Stop messing with me. Oh, it looked like it might have almost hit. Oh, he's still here? Sad that that didn't hit. Did his medkit disappear? Maybe, I'm not sure. I don't see them. Okay. Well, I'll leave those two at the unhook and go for the gen. There's the Tory. Yeah, that's a really fast hit too. That hits. Crazy. Crazy that that is allowed to hit. See if we can bother those guys up there, maybe. Yeah, somebody's on that gen up there, right? Am I seeing that correctly? Yeah. Is this Adam, I think? Oh, any means necessary. That didn't hit. It's actually really cool that we can see survivor hook states right now. How does he not get hit by that? Body fall looks actually so creepy. Oh, hello. Ready for another Mori. I just spammed screenshots again. And yeah, I was using a skin for the second game. That's... I like the skin. I forgot to put on the other weapon though. Okay, we're on the dead sands. I spawned kind of in the middle. I started to try and, you know, go instantly with the head form. Because if I don't have lethal, I kind of have to find them on my own. And I went, unfortunately, to the wrong side of the map. There's someone. Why is there blood? Are you injured? Okay. Alright, kind of managed to do it. Hey, we got an achievement on our third game. Use intestinal to put survivors in a dying state. Okay. That was so quick. Why is she leaving blood? I don't get it. Again, I somehow put my hand down. Oh my god, I could still hit her there. Crazy. Is it her map that's producing the blood from before? That would be interesting. Okay, Carlos is being healed. Oh, she baited me so hard. GG's. The Thompson house again. Honestly, with how these last few games have gone, with the survivors almost completing all the gens, it made me a little bit anxious of going for the Adept challenge. That was ambitious. That's a balance. That's already a gen completed. And that was the one right next to me, no? Yeah. Nice, that hard. In come the body blocks. Nice one. Still going for this fang though. Oh, I was too tempted to go for something fancy there. I'm about to get 3 gens popped in my face. Yeah, told you, 3 gens. That's her balance going. She might have DS, but I'm gonna try anyways. Can I reach this M1 in time? Yes. Okay. I really want to see what perks they had. Again, obsession did not change. I'm just gonna go Chick Shack. No, it's not here. Using his life, very nice. Hyper-focus stakeout. Resilience, dead hard, balance, DS, reassurance. I don't think they use the reassurance ever. Alright, we're Prestige 2, level 50 in the Blood Web. We are 47,111 blood points away, right? No, wait, not 40. Sorry, we are 17,111 blood points away from getting the Prestige level 3. And 17 we should reasonably be able to get in one game, so we're going for the Adept. For the Adept, we're obviously going to run our 3 teachable perks. The inside down perks after 4 hooks, 4 separate hooks. Or reading on injured survivors within 20 meters when starting a chase with another survivor. And the Hex, which gives us undetectable if survivors are repairing a specific gen. For add-ons, I'm going to run the Chicken Head, which makes all survivors afflicted with Leech 1 at the start of the trial. But it also makes additional glowing fungi spawn. But this might allow me to start off the match right in head form and just get a quick early down, since we have very little to work with in our loadout. And then this one I just used because Leech 1 applies blindness, gives the survivors blindness at the start of the match. And if they go to Leech 2, they'll be hindered, and because of this they'll probably be looking for a mushroom straight off the bat. So let's see how this goes, and we'll just somehow hopefully make it work. Garden of Joy. Of course we had to get this map on our first attempt at the Adept challenge. That is somehow the furthest generator. I guess from the Hex Totem, makes sense. Survivor right in front of us already. They have a pretty good pallet here. Somebody already cleansing. Okay. No, they must be here. Oh, they slow vaulted the window. That's my bad. That's live. Can we hit her before she undoes the leeching? Yes, we can. Okay. See. I don't think it delays for long enough. Oh wait, I got stuck. That's finesse, that's why she low vaulted. There goes the first gen though. What? How does that? I was looking up. Okay, shows he's hindered now. Oh my god, I'm playing this so badly. I don't think you make that. I don't know, I was looking up like this and I still got blinded. And looking down is not really possible either. Okay. So since I am getting the undetectable status effect, it means that somebody's on this gen, right? That still hits. This killer's so crazy, dude. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of tunneling, I think, to have a chance here. There's the DS. Yeah, they all have it. Where's the Laura? I don't know. Is she waiting to blind me? No. He's not going so hot. Okay. I should tunnel that V out immediately now. I'm at 2 gens left. Not the V, I mean the leader. How did she get through? Oh, that's a little jittery. Oh, I can't hit. Oh my, I got stuck on the hook. Holy, I have to go back to these guys. Stuck on a rock. Nice, well played. Good fake. I can't hold this. still undetectable for a little bit. That didn't hit. I'm so screwed. That V is gonna finish that last gen. I don't know why I guess I was just trying to get her away from the hook. Get away from maybe getting the flashlight line. I kind of have to leave this gen and go over here. All these guys are like running really good meta perks. Okay. Maybe there's a chance that I get the Ada, but it's unlikely. Are they both here? Fuck. She's still exposed, I think. There we go. To wait for the death to happen. Ooh, okay, that was stressful. Let's get the Mori for the finish. Woo! That was a lot more stressful than I thought it was gonna kill her that's this strong. But like her perks just also aren't very good. But we got it, first try. There it is, achieve merciless victory. Like, did they all have finesse? No, of course, the one person I tunneled had the DS. That's such a classic. Lara also had DS, but she wasn't really in a position to be tunneled. Finesse? I was so sure at least 3 of them had finesse. But I guess it was just Lara. She had Deli. Did she ever get to use it, or did I hook her first? No, I think I'm pretty sure I hooked her first. That's pretty lucky then, I guess, right? No, did I hook the Ada first? I'm not quite sure who I hooked first. I definitely didn't hook Lara first, because she was there with the flashlight to try and blind me. But she didn't get the unhook after the blind, and I think then I downed her and hooked her. I think that's what happened. Okay. So let's put the Krasue to tier 3. Unlock her 3 teachable perks: Ravenous, Wandering Eye, and Peck's Overture of Doom on all our killers. And I think the last thing we need to do is head over into the tier list to rank this killer on my tier list, on my personal tier list. Let's do that. Okay, we are in the tier list, and unfortunately I have to record this a second time because my recording program completely glitched out. And this is the current tier list. As you can see, the Krasue is ranked in the occasionally fun tier. I'll explain that in a second. But first, I want to go over a couple of the changes. Now, since the Myers rework came out, I've only played one match of him on the live servers. I played him a lot on the PTB, and I absolutely hated it. Now they changed some of the stuff, like transitioning into Evil Incarnate a bit faster, and I think they changed a few little things, and I've only played one game of him, so he's kind of not rankable right now, so he's just in the bottom of Never Fun tier. I actually can't bear to put him below the Skull Merchant, so he'll just be here for now, until I can update him with the next baby killer after I've played him a little bit more. And besides that, I've been doing the Nuzlocke Streak. Check out my channel for a playlist on that streak. The first episode should be out by the time this uploads, since I've already played about 40 games of the streak. And to prepare for the streak, after my 11-month hiatus earlier this year, well, last month when I came back to the game, I've been practicing a lot of the killers, especially the newer killers and also the killers that got changed significantly. And one of the big ones was Sadako. Before I moved her, Sadako was up here in the usually fun tier, but right now she's in the top of the occasionally fun tier. I'll go over that why I call this the top in a second. Because I find it a lot harder to play her now. I'm not sure why. It just feels more difficult than when it did when she came out and I did her episode. So that's where she is for now. I moved the Cenobite up from the Never Fun tier to actually above Hag. Practicing him for my Nuzlocke Streak was, difficult at first, but I feel like now I understand his power a bit better. I understand better how to play around the box. I'm still not very good at locating the box spawns. That's something I'm still practicing. And so he'll actually be here. I'm very on the verge of putting twins in the occasionally fun tier, but sometimes it's just not as good as I want it to be. I really enjoy the twins, but the games I play with her just sometimes aren't fun. Like most of the time aren't fun, so that she will stay down here. Other than that, I believe I made any meaningful changes to the tier list, so let's talk about the Krasue. Now, the big thing about the Krasue is that she's very powerful. When she was on the PTB, people called her a mid to high A tier killer, but now she's definitely a S, if not S plus tier killer, up there with the nurse. I'm not sure she's more powerful than the nurse, but she's definitely a top tier killer right now, and she will get some changes. 100%. There's a large outcry from both survivors and killer players who say she is too strong and it's not good for the game, and I tend to agree with them. During this time playing the Krasue, I think I lost one match maybe, and when I was playing her most of the time my brain was just turned off. Her gameplay loop is so simple. They drop a pallet, you vault over it, you walk around the loop, and you hit them with the intestinal whip. You find a new survivor that isn't leeched, you transition into body form, you leech them, you transition into head form, and you run them down. It's a very simple loop, and she's very good, and if they use an exhaustion perk to run away, you have headlong flight, and you catch up in a few seconds. It doesn't matter. Especially the longer loops, it's very easy to catch up to survivors, and I don't know, it just promotes this sort of playstyle where your brain can just be off. Another killer that suffered from this, that suffers from this playstyle, I believe, in my opinion, is the Yellow Bottle Clown. You just throw yellow bottles and there's nothing survivors can do. There's no real, thought behind that. They nerfed the yellow bottles now and they made the purple bottles a bit stronger again, so I think the meta is shifting back to using both bottles since, that sort of is the idea behind having the two bottles. Um, but when you think about killers like Trapper, Singularity, even Twins, Hag as well, like any trap killer falls into this category. You're most of the time you're thinking about, where are my traps? Where should I lead them to? Where's my web? Where should I set up my cameras? Where can I get a down with Victor without him getting smashed, or maybe even get multiple downs in a row without getting him kicked? Your brain is active. You're thinking about your next move. You're thinking about which generators to pressure. When you're playing Spirit, you're focused on audio. You're listening for things that are happening. With Nemesis, you're managing your infections, you're managing your zombies, keeping an eye out if they spot somebody. With Dredge, you have to be very aware of locker positions, where survivors could be going, how you can cut them off. With Legion, you obviously have to think about when you want to commit to a target even after frenzying them, or when you want to split the pressure and try and get somebody else with a chain hit. Those sort of things. Even with Dracula a little bit, you're thinking about, where should I switch forms here and when, especially with like a small nerfs they gave to him now. With the Unknown, you're thinking about the shots you can make, where you can bounce your projectile, where to leave your hallucinations, and how to apply pressure. But with Krasue, for me personally, it was just like, brain off. I don't care about pressuring gens. I'm just gonna run them down. And most of the games it worked. And I think that was the big thing in the Adept attempt right now that we had, that my brain was just off for most of the match until I realized, like, oh, there's 2 gens left. I might have to tunnel this person off a hook. And then I got hit with the S. So, she can definitely lose if she doesn't have a good build. But most of the time, you'll not run into a Krasue doing the Adept. You'll run into a Krasue running some of these strongest builds. And they're not going to be restricted like me when I do the Nuzlocke Streak, where I can only run one regression perk at a time. So, yeah, and really the only 2 regression perks that are like, I feel like are viable on her are Pop, maybe, but like mostly Pain Resonance and Ruin. Getting Survivors leeched forces them off the gen for a little bit to go grab a fungi. But like Pop is still like, if they are on the gen and you're in head form and they aren't leeched, they can take 3 hits, or they can keep repairing while you're transitioning into body form before you can kick that generator. And if the generator is at like 97% and you're coming up to them in head form and they are leeched, they can keep doing that gen if you have Pop, and you won't be able to kick it. Um, you know, and even if the intestinal whip forces them off the gen, during the cooldown, they'll just keep working on it. And especially if there's 2 survivors, you're not going to get them both off. But you usually don't do that. Don't get them off with any killer unless you're Bubba, who has a chainsaw for both of them, or Plague, who has her corrupt purge ready. Or Houndmaster, who can get the dog on one of them and then hit the other one, something like that. Yeah. In that regard, that's why I placed her in the occasionally fun tier. But she's on the verge of the usually fun tier. She's kind of dancing in between these two, because she will get changes, and it will change the way she needs to be played. It will make her weaker, probably, hopefully. If they somehow accidentally make her even stronger again, that would be insane. So I'll have to see how those changes play out. So that's why she's dancing over here right now. And she's just mind-numbingly strong right now that I can't justify putting her any higher than the bottom of usually fun. Since, I do enjoy a little bit of a challenge, which is why Nurse isn't at the top of the list. And why you could say that I have some underrated killers, or like some low tier killers like Houndmaster, Dredge, Nemesis, Demo, Clown, Pig, and like the top of my tier list. But this is my personal enjoyment, right? I also have some very strong killers at the top of my tier list: Spirit, Wesker, Blight, Ghoul, Dracula, Xeno, Ivy Leaf 2, Vecna. I think Unknown is still one of the strongest killers too. So yeah, and like I said, Myers, can't really rank him right now until I test him and practice him a little bit more with the changes. So Yeah, that is the tier list for now. I've been rambling for 10 minutes now. That's enough talk. Krasue goes into the occasionally fun tier, and that ends the episode. Unfortunately, I already closed the game after I recorded the other section, since it is past 12. It is the 26th actually for me still, because I haven't gone to sleep yet. That's going to do it for this episode of the Baby Killer series, where we took on the Krasue. Thank you all so much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to not miss my uploads. Be free to also check out my channel for the playlist for the Baby Killer series, where you can go back 4 years to when I started this whole series with the Trapper, when I started playing Killer. And if it's already past 2025, you can check the playlist for the next couple of episodes and maybe catch up to the latest Killer, if I'm still playing this game in a few years. I hope I am, because I really enjoy this game. And other than that, you can also check out the playlist for the Nuzlocke Streak. At least the first episode should be out before this one comes out, because that's on my editing schedule. I'm like halfway through editing the first episode, and it should be out before I edit and upload this episode. So check that out as well if you're interested in seeing me play a variety of killers, a little bit more try hard, trying to go for a sort of streak challenge. There's also a rule video at the start of the playlist you can check out for the rules on the Nuzlocke Streak. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.